Hey everyone, welcome to AI Technopedia Hub, your go-to place to learn Python in the simplest way possible. Today we are diving into one of the most important building blocks of Python programming, that is variables and data types. Just like we use containers to store different items in our homes, in Python we use variables to store data. Whether it's numbers, text, or even more complex stuff, Python has a specific data type for each. In this video, you'll learn what are variables and how to create them. Different types of data in Python like int, float, string, bool, and more. Why data types are important in programming. And of course, we'll explore it all with simple, clear examples and demos. Keywords. Now next, let's move on to variables. A variable in a program is uniquely identified by a name, which is also an identifier name. Variable in Python refers to an object, an item, or an element that is stored in the memory. Now, the value of a variable can be a string, or it can be a numeric, or it can be a combination of alphanumeric characters. So in Python, we can use an assignment statement to create new variables and assign specific values to them. Now, variable declaration is implicit in Python. See, if you have studied C++, you know that before declaring a variable, we always had to specify the data type of the variable. But in Python, it is done implicitly, means variables are automatically declared and defined when they are assigned a value the first time. Now, variables must always be assigned values before they are used in expressions. Otherwise, it will lead to an error in the program. So wherever a variable name occurs in an expression, the interpreter replaces it with the value of that particular variable. Now, let's talk about Python data types. Python supports different types of data we can store and use in variables. Python allows us to work with different types of data. Every piece of data in Python is associated with a specific data type, like numbers, text, or lists. One of the coolest things about Python is that it uses something called dynamic typing. That means you don't need to declare the data type when creating a variable. Python figures it out automatically. And yes, a variable can even change its data type while your program is running. That's the flexibility Python offers. Now, we'll explore the different types of data Python supports. Now imagine variables in Python as labeled boxes, where we can store different types of items. If you drop a number in that box that you are seeing, Python says that's an integer, like 10. If you add text, Python calls it a string, like, for example, cake. If you put true or false, that's a boolean or a bool. And if you put in a collection of items, Python sees it as a list or a tuple, depending upon how it's defined. Each of these kinds of items is known as a data type, and understanding these data types is key to mastering Python. Okay, friends, now to make things interesting for you all, let's learn the data types in Python in a funny way using a movie cast metaphor. So, welcome to the grand premiere of the Python movie, starring an all-star cast of data types in Python. So, let's roll out the red carpet for our celebrities, starting with the numbers, which include integers. So, meet Mr. Int, the action hero, was solid, stable, and always whole. No decimals, no drama, just punches and maths. Next, let's move on to the floating point numbers. They are the romantic lead, always emotional, and a little extra with those decimals. Like, I like you 3.14 times. Next, let's move to the complex numbers. They are the mysterious character. They talk in riddles like 2 plus 3j and leave everyone confused but impressed. Also, as part of the integer data type, we have the boolean. The cop of the movie always says yes or no, true or false, very black and white, zero chill. Next, we have the sequence data types, which include the strings, which is the dramatic diva. She loves to talk. Every scene, she's got a dialogue like hello, bye, what is life? Next, we have the lists, which is the group traveler. Always carries everything like clothes, snacks, memes, entire blender, you name it. They are totally flexible. So that will help you remember lists. Next we have is the tuple, which is the over planner. Once their itinerary is fixed, there's no changing it. Like if we are going to Europe, and that's final. So that's tuple for you, my friends. Next we have the set data type, the cool background dancer. Random moves, zero repeats, doesn't care about order, just the vibe. Next is the none type, the extra who sits in the background and doesn't say a word but still gets credit at the end. That's none. And then we have the mapping data type, which includes the dictionary data type. The script writer, they've got all the information, character names, lines, roles, but if you ask exactly right, say character name, and boom, they spill the tea. So there you have it, the Python data type in the cast of a movie. Each one plays a unique role in the plot. They create the perfect blockbuster code. Now let's understand a key concept in Python, also known as dynamic typing. In Python, variables are not explicitly bound to a specific data type. This means when you create a variable, you don't need to declare its type. Instead, Python will automatically determine the data type based on the value assigned to it. So let's take an example. Here we have item is equal to 5. At this point, item holds the integer value 5, so Python recognizes it as an int. But later, you can assign a completely different type of value. For example, item is equal to, in double quotes, which is a string, apple. Now, without any error or need for redeclaration, item becomes a string. This flexibility is what we refer to as dynamic typing. Unlike statically typed languages like Java or C++, where the type of a variable must be declared and remains fixed, Python allows variables to change their type at runtime depending on the value assigned. This makes Python highly flexible and easy to use, especially for rapid development and prototyping. However, it also requires the programmer to be more mindful of your variable usage, as type-related bugs can occur at runtime rather than being caught during compilation. So, in summary, dynamic typing means no need to declare variable types. Python infers the type automatically, and variables can change types during execution. This is a fundamental feature that contributes to Python's simplicity and Python's power. Now let's explore one of the most basic and important data types in Python, which is the number data type. Number data types are used to store numerical values only. These values can be used for mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and so on. Python classifies the number data types into three major categories, like integer, float, and complex number types. Integer, which stands for integer numbers. These are whole numbers, both positive and negative, without any decimal points. For example, -12, 0, 2, or 125. Next we have is the float, short for floating point numbers. These are numbers that contain decimal points. For example, -2.04, 4.0, and 14.23. These are commonly used when precision is needed for calculations, like in scientific or financial applications. Next we have is the complex data type. Python also supports complex numbers, which are written in the form of a plus bj, where a is the real part and b is the imaginary part. For example, 3 plus 4j or 2 minus 2j. These are particularly useful in scientific and engineering applications. Here in the table, you can see each type clearly laid out with descriptions and examples. So in Python, handling numerical data is intuitive and very powerful. And these number types, they form the foundation for working with all kinds of computations, from simple arithmetic to advanced mathematical modeling. To the boolean data type, which is part of the integer data type. It is a subtype of integer. It is a unique data type, boolean, consisting of two constants, true and false. The boolean true value is always non-zero, non-null and non-empty, and the boolean false value is the value 0. Now, variables of simple data types like integers, float, boolean, etc., they hold single values. But sometimes such variables are not useful to hold a long list of information. For example, if we have to store the names of the months, names of students in a class, names and numbers in a phone book, and the list of artifacts in a museum. So for that, we just don't need a simple single variable which can just hold single values. We might need a variable which can hold a long list of information. So for this, Python has provided us data types like tuples, lists, dictionaries, and sets. Let's see them. Now these are also called sequence data types. A Python sequence is an ordered collection of items where each item is indexed by an integer. Now the three types of sequence data types available in Python are strings, lists, and tuples. We will learn about each of them in detail in later chapters. But let's see a brief introduction to these sequence data types like strings, lists, and tuples. Now, what is a string? As we know, string is nothing but a group of characters. And these characters may be alphabets, they may be digits, or they may be special characters including spaces. This is a point to be noted carefully. String values are enclosed either in single quotation marks or double quotation marks. And these quotes are not part of the string. They are just used to mark the beginning and end of the string for the interpreter to understand that what we are passing is a string value. Now, as you can see, string 1 is the variable and we are passing hello friend with single quotation mark. String 2 has got 452, which we are passing in double quotation marks. Now, we cannot perform numerical operations on strings, even when the string contains a numerical value. Like 452 is a string value. We can't do numerical operations on 452. So I hope strings is clear. Python is an ordered, mutable collection that can hold items of different types. Think of it like a grocery or a shopping basket. You can add, remove, or change anything inside it. Now, let's look at this example where we have created a list called info and we have given it various items of various data types like Alice, 25, and true. Next is tuple. So tuple is a sequence of items separated by commas and the items are enclosed in parentheses. So earlier we had square brackets which were given in list, and in tuple we give the parenthesis brackets. This is unlike list where values are enclosed in square brackets. And once the tuple is created, we cannot change the tuple. So we are giving. Now, what is set? Set is an unordered collection of items separated by commas and the items are enclosed in curly brackets. A set is similar to a list except that it cannot have duplicate entries. A list can have duplicate entries, and once created, a set also, elements of a set cannot be changed, like we just saw in tuple. So set. Now next we have the none data type. None is a special data type with a single value. It is used to signify the absence of a value in a situation. None supports no special operations and it is neither same as false nor zero. So it is just to indicate the absence of a value and it doesn't mean zero or false. Next, let's see the mapping data type. Mapping is an unordered data type in Python. Currently, there is only one standard mapping data type in Python called dictionary. Now, what is a dictionary? Let's understand in detail. Dictionary in Python holds data items in key and value pairs. Items in a dictionary are enclosed in curly brackets. Dictionaries, they permit faster access to data. Every key is separated from its value using a colon sign. The key value pair of a dictionary can be accessed using the key. Keys are usually strings and their values can be any data type. And in order to access any value in the dictionary, we have to specify its key in square brackets first. So keys are extremely important in dictionary. Every key has a value associated with it and they are separated using a a colon sign, which is the key value pairs of a dictionary. Now, my friends, that we know what are the various data types in Python, you can follow along this Jupyter notebook and run all these examples. Starting with the integer example, which prints the value and the data type. Then we also have the bool value assigned to variable 1. Then we have the floating point numbers, complex numbers example where we have the real part and the imaginary part. Then the string, here we are using single quotes in this example. Next we are using double quotes. Even if it looks like an integer but it is a string, as we have passed it in a double quotes. Then we are giving the example of a list with mixed types, mixed data types, and tuple with different data types, set with duplicate values, and how sets give the answer by removing the duplicate values. And then we have the dictionary example with the key value pair. So you can follow along this Jupyter notebook and run each of these examples to get a in-depth and a hands-on expertise on the different data types. Right, my friends. So, in our next video, we'll dive even deeper into Python concepts. So make sure you stay tuned. And don't forget to hit the subscribe, turn on the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, keep coding and keep growing. Thank you.